Pick up your phone and stuff. Okay.
Hey there.
The only one who isn't here is
Did that,
Jim.
is it? Did the owl start or does it automatically,
It should automatically start.
It sees you, so it must be on.
no,
No.
that's here. No, it should be a separate screen up there.
Yeah, it should be. Oh,
Want to just double check that that's, right where the power cords go in, there's a,
Chris.
Did it?
did that light up or?
Yeah. It's lit up. Kitchen.
Whatever.
But the camera.
All right,
Chris is joining, he's got his permit on the.
Oh, you mean one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He's doing it.
It's recording, but it's not picking up other.
well, but I'm, yeah, what's happening is it's not, the owl is not connecting. There's usually a,
The owl usually gets right on.
yeah, I don't know enough about it.
I have no idea, but it's not your wife that's looking for one.
Deal with me.
Chris, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Every once in a while we get a phone call.
Chris cannot hear us.
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a good sign.
So that thing, the owl is showing that it's on,
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
got a light.
Speaker's working.
good.
Okay,
Not going around, is it?
no, it's not, it's
Not
for some
moving.
reason, it's not linked up with,
Maybe you have to reboot after that got turned on.
no, well, like I say, I'm gonna do one thing here, and then, doesn't work, we're just gonna get moving here. This could chew up hours. Okay, all right, welcome, everybody. Yeah. Being the tech wizard that I am. The sum total of my IT support is restart. Okay.
The telephone number of your IT guy.
Well, yeah, I don't even have one of those anymore, but okay. Welcome, everybody. Call the meeting to order at, what is it, 7:09. All right, and minutes of the last meeting, are there any adjustments, additions, deletions? One, two? Oh, just one, okay.
I have two, things I want to talk about. Under audience of citizens, where we were talking about, the dam subcommittee, I had made the comment that I thought I had been on the dam subcommittee since, the time, that Dan and, Dave and I had been on it, and I hadn't known that I'd been taken off in it, and I was asked whether I wanted to be on it, and I said yes, and I assumed that, that was what was, considered okay, because nobody else commented, but
Yeah.
I would like to therefore have the minutes either reflect that discussion or just simply say the dam subcommittee and add my name to it.
Okay.
If I may, I think we need to involve Mark Walter and or Beth Lunt in that discussion. They asked that we narrow it down because she didn't want to be quote unquote standing at the dam, having to make a decision with several people weighing in. So that's why, my understanding was why it was reduced to
Cool.
monitor the weather, assistant gatekeeper, and gatekeeper.
Well, I bring a lot of longevity to it and I was.
I'm not denying, no, I know, I'm not denying that. My suggestion is that Mark Walter or Beth Lunt, you weigh in on it.
Who is, so right
Somebody who
now,
Made that choice.
Mark was at that meeting.
yeah, he didn't object.
he agreed.
I think the discussion should have taken place because that was, I was told that was why it was reduced. That she did not want,
Well,
She didn't want to talk to many people.
she did not want to stand at the dam and have 5 people weighing in.
Well, okay, I understand 5, but right now the subcommittee is
3,
who? Dave?
myself.
It's Dave and you, and that's it.
That's it.
Well, I counted that one. So I'm all in favor. I'm just saying Mark Walter had a different, I felt Mark
Well,
Walter.
Mark was at the meeting.
So I was.
Well, you know what, we'll acknowledge that there was an agreement that Henry was added
Or
or continued until, there's any, and if there's any objection by Mark, then, you know, we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Oh, Mark Walter.
When did she
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah.
Mary, when did she say that?
I had a conversation with Mark Walter probably 8 months ago and Beth Lund.
Yeah, all right, because they never told me anything.
Because Mark, Beth, you, me, Mike Nazel at one point and Henry were all weighing in and it was too much. They felt communication was necessary and needed from LNAC, but they felt it was too much. My understanding was, and this was during the winter because I wasn't here at 2 meetings, was that that was discussed and it was, okay.
I don't remember Henry coming off at all.
I didn't listen.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, okay, so.
And I'm for it, but we just have to coordinate the communication.
Well, it's been pretty good.
Oh, it's been, well, it has been because there's only 2 of us, plus Mark and Beth.
Yeah,
And I think other people may be weighing in, such as a first selectman on occasion.
he's
So,
in the background, you see.
yes, from behind the scenes.
Didn't we have a chairman to that subcommittee? I don't have. my-
Dave
Not
was
actually the chairman, I'm the assistant
the,
gatekeeper.
he's the assistant.
Yeah, but
gatekeeper.
you were the point person, that was my
I'm the
understanding.
one that does the turn. the gatekeeper.
No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong,
Yeah,
Beth
I-
is supposed to contact you.
She
And then
does.
isn't it up to you to contact everybody on your committee? To let them know what's going on?
We're already kind of in contact.
Well, we're
We
kind
could-
of doing that, but the weather monitoring, I was asked to do because I get the most up-to-date, what's called FACTS weather reports every 12 hours because of my association with the school. So that is the weather monitoring in terms of how many inches are we getting, what are we anticipating? That's what I've been providing.
Yeah,
And then these guys decide +4, -2, whatever. And Beth has been making with David.
Yeah, I think the timing of those decisions are key too, enough days prior to the rainfall of the event happening, so we can.
Well, that's the dilemma, and when we, at some point, get to what should we do with the dam control policy, I think it's more a management issue than a change levels issue.
Right.
The management of when, and that's difficult. I
It is,
will
yeah.
tell you, 48 hours out, they say one thing, 4 hours out, they say something completely different sometimes. And that's led to, instead of being at +6, which is our highest, we're at +8 or +8.
we've been able to dump it more quickly than I expected
Yes.
to. It does dump pretty quick when we get the needle.
Yeah, they say, and this is typical, a weatherman will say, we're gonna get 2 inches across Connecticut.
Okay.
We
I
get
think-
4 in Western and 1 here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we're getting off topic here.
Thank
The,
you, I'm
the
sorry.
adjustment was, that there was discussion about Henry continuing on that subcommittee. And I didn't hear any objection that night to continuing with that. So I would say
That's
we
fine.
continue with that. And if Mark and or Beth has an issue with it, then they can contact myself or
yeah.
I'm not saying it's a personal issue, it's a communication issue.
I get it. I understand that. But, you know, Beth has to understand that she's working for a board. We don't make decisions in a vacuum. And there is a committee that, you know, we need to have, we need to have some institutional knowledge, especially on the control of the dam, so.
This summer's proved it.
Yeah, so,
So at this point, Henry's back on.
Henry, yes, Henry will continue, stays on,
I did
until,
have one more.
Yeah.
First, and I should have started by saying, that I think Mike did a great job with the minutes in general, but the water quality one, we have a statement that says, we can control the algae, one being taking water from the lake at the bottom of the dam rather than several feet off the bottom. I'd like to suggest we add after dam, as was historically done, because I made the point that we want to keep our record, making it clear that historically we did take it from a deeper level in case,
That's
you
very
know,
important.
it becomes some kind of an issue with the state. We want to say we're only going back to what we did for over 100 years.
Mhm.
But Henry, what's that where it starts, the bottom of the dam rather than the several feet?
Yeah, right, between dam and rather, if we could add as was historically done,
Okay,
just to, you know, reserve that as part of the record. No, Mark Vining went through the higher one. It was changed because the old dam had gotten old, and that's when they, you know, cut the wood thing and left the historic thing there as a kind of a monument. And it put the gate in over on the side. And when they put the gate on the side, it was probably more a matter of town budget and not having enough engineering to understand what we were doing, that we should have gone lower.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. So are there any other edits?
I'll move acceptance.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so moved. Thank you. All right, moving on, we have an audience of citizens. Hi.
Hi, Joshua Hoffman, not here with any agenda, just in the proceeding.
Great, welcome, and glad you're here. Thank you. And what's your address?
126 Route 87.
Thank you. And we have Chris.
Hello,
And what's your, Chris, Want, is it Want?
Wanty.
Wanty, excuse me.
Yeah,
Wanty, and what's your address, Chris?
146 CT 87.
Great, thank you. All right. So any communications? I do have a bunch of, I guess I can bring that up later, it's not for now, but anything out, any other communications that we need to review? Okay. Committee reports, we have a permit here from Chris Wanty. We'll start with that one. Any feedback on this permit?
How do you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, so Mary and I went out there, Jimmy wasn't with us, we did review, the request is for the deconstruction and removal of, a current cement dock that's out there. Concrete, and it's 28 long by 7.6 wide. And we looked at it as definitely in need of getting out of there.
Yeah.
And it's all in different angles, and he's got a good excavation plan, set up to remove the concrete without disturbing the lake bed, if you will, and how you're gonna transfer the material between the dock and the land. So that looks overall pretty good. But if you look at the proposed dock that he'd like to put in there, it's about 3 feet shorter than the original, I believe, coming in at 28 feet, 25 feet. And it's 25 by 10 overall, so he's reducing the overall length, but he also wants to add another 5 feet section on the end that you can see in the diagram, if all of you have that with you. I'm sorry, and you can look at that, that's the original doc, 28 feet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the second page is, the page and the proposal is,
Oh, so this is a part of the house.
that's part of the house.
Got it,
He's
okay.
actually putting a deck in the front of the house.
Got it, yep.
And now he's looking at putting a new dock in at 25 feet overall, but adding that, increasing the overall width of the dock by 2 feet 6 inches overall, and by adding that 5 feet extension on the end. And if you walk onto the dock within 1 or 2 steps, it's very shallow where it is. So actually, it might be even beneficial to go out a bit further than to reduce it by 3 feet overall. And maybe even, Chris, keep the original footprint that you had. I don't know how,
I'm sure it's that shallow. At the end of that dock, it's deep because it's in the water all the time.
yeah, we were there and the water was up.
We
and
measured it.
We measured it. It
31
was,
inches.
which is, Henry,
On an engine.
the dock actually sits quite high off the water. So the depth there and the current
But when the
configuration.
water is down, the dock is still in the water. Most docks are out of the water.
Is
So
that
if I say
When
that
it,
at the
yeah, you
end,
can get around it when it's 6 feet, but once it gets back to 5, it's hard to get around.
Well, okay, but
So the big change here is, you know, is he wants to add the additional 5 feet out at the end, and we should talk about that, John, if you will, to see if, you know, what your views are of it, initially.
yeah,
Well, let's begin by thinking what the normal size that we accept is 5 by 20, right?
The normal size is 5 by 20, that's
So
obviously,
the existing one is obviously larger,
the
longer.
one is larger, and if you were to grandfather it, you could, well,
You don't grandfather.
you theoretically build the same size dock.
right, he could replace it
You could
with,
replace with the same size.
without
dock.
any issue, he could replace it with what's there.
Doesn't have to be in the same footprint.
Yes.
yes,
So. A couple of things. Number one, he's proposing, if Chris is with us tonight, to reduce the square footage.
Overall.
That's good, bad, and different, but it's less fading in an aquatic water area. Number two, and these are some things that we talked about, and then something just hit me, and oh my God. Our construction on the lake is our guidelines. Guidelines are general rules. There have been opportunities, and I'm very aware of one, the Benavides, where we did allow a change of footprint and did allow appropriate square footage because he agreed to remove the third dock. Now, I'm not saying that's precedent, but I think that the guidelines and general rules were applied there to allow for that. There are conditions where I think we will need to be flexible on 5 by 20, and there are a couple of permits coming up where, if you allow a 20-foot, or in this case, he wants to reduce it, which I'm wondering why, you may have mooring issues, you may have water depth issues, and, those conditions may require a need to be further than 20 feet out. But then this hit me. We have an unintended consequence of our proposed changes for the town ordinances. We're allowing a 26-foot boat. Right? We just said, we're going, and we're saying you can only have a 20-foot dock. If you were to go back to the 5 by.
But you can moor your boat,
Excuse me?
you can, like at the public beach, you can moor a 26-foot boat at one of the moorings.
we're not
Yeah, yeah.
encouraging 6 foot.
But I really,
I'm not saying change, but I am saying you could be creating, if we're not careful, a safety hazard. Stay within 5 by 20, but you have a 26-foot pontoon boat, and now it's hanging off the edge of the dock, which is what we're trying to prevent.
Right now, we have a 50-foot boat,
Yeah.
and we still continue to have 20-foot docks.
Right, but if we get next season to 26 feet, I think that the guidelines have to be flexible, is what I'm saying.
On the docks.
On the docks. In this particular case, I would encourage Chris that you stay with the footprint. Because I don't know if this committee is ready to reduce the square footage and to allow that change.
I had a question because we've also looked at, it's not shown here, it is shown where the property line is, but the distance to the property line is not indicated, and this 5-foot addition is on the side where the property is closer to the adjoining property than on the other side, and I don't know what is left there for space, and I think we should know that before we approve any
Well,
change.
yeah, there, you know, if you look at, so if measurements to the side are,
More than 15 feet.
yeah, I mean, it's 1/8 inch equals a foot. I would imagine 1/8 inch equals a foot on this print size?
No, it's not.
Okay,
does he know?
Do
Maybe
you know, Chris?
Chris, you know what
I'm
the,
s-
how,
What's the dimension you're looking for?
From the dock to your neighbor property line to the.
Where you wanna put the extension on, the 5 feet?
How many feet is that?
Give me 1 second.
In,
It doesn't know.
in the side, it's gotta be shown, it's
Well,
gotta be
they're
shown
showing
as an actual extension.
They're not scale.
This is,
Yeah.
This is
because you've got-
No, but I mean proportionally,
That's-
that's not the scale.
That's.
He's about just under 50 feet.
Is what you're saying.
Or is that?
Oh, on the,
I thought the property line, I see, I thought this was the corner of the property, but that is, it's just that line there, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
on the, I got the number. Sorry. go-
To
go.
his point,
this
or-
guy, he's coming on.
well, wait a
Looks like
minute,
it's okay.
but he's actually he's more center on the property with the new design than he is with the old design.
That was the intent, yeah.
Because
Chris,
Right.
what was that?
yeah, it's about 42 feet from on the left-hand side of the dock and about 50 feet on the right-hand side
No, he's well
of the
over.
dock.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
With
Those are the numbers that I have too. Yep.
the new design.
Okay, so you're well within.
So,
So pretty much.
the deviation, so the thing that requires some discussion here is the deviation from the original footprint. It is not a replacement. So how do we deal with that? How do we?
Well, in the past, when we've accepted deviations, is because it's too shallow, you've got to let somebody extend the dock out
Correct.
for your outboard, for the outlet. That's really the only reason we've allowed exceptions to the 5 by 20 guideline.
But I think one of the things you have to consider is there's almost a 45 square foot reduction in overall dock space for that property.
But
So accessing
but it's also twice as wide on the lakeside than normal.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
still reducing the square footage on the
Right,
lake.
but it's all I'm saying is theoretically, we could go to full 28 by, the original size, which was 7 feet 6 inches. Which would be a lot bigger than, overall.
It's not as big as 10 feet.
Well, I know, but it'd be actually 45 more square feet if we just built what he has now.
I'm
So
not
I think,
concerned.
I think one of the considerations needs to be the reduction in square foot. I know that. And maybe it doesn't carry any weight, but it's physical, more lake area.
I would say it's more visual impact from the lakeside. And a 5 foot wide dock is one thing, 10 foot wide dock is quite something else.
How many are on this lake?
Good.
Let's be flexible here if this is.
Yeah, if we're flexible here, we might as well throw out the guidance.
Is that?
Well,
Well, what we're talking about is 2 feet 6 inches. This is the discussion right now.
right,
And the question is, should we just go back with the original intent and go the full 7 foot 6? Or could we reduce the overall square footage and add the 2.6 feet at the end?
If we do this arbitrarily, it's setting a precedent.
Right, that's my concern is. What
What
guideline are we pointing to justify our decision for this? And what hardship are we pointing to that would justify this? So we need to go back to something other than,
Reducing.
reducing the square footage.
I suspect one of the reasons it is the size it is because they're aluminum framed.
Yeah, it's a prefab
standard size.
It's a sectional system, so you're getting 5 feet or 10 feet, not 7.5.
Exactly.
So
That's where I was having problems. Like there was a custom size to go back the same exact dimensions, and it just is a significant premium to do that. So I thought, doing standard dimensions and reducing the overall square footage, maybe that's something we can consider. Just a proposal.
The other thing perhaps is to come out and make it into a T and hold it at 7.6.
You can't
do that.
because aluminum only comes 5 by 10.
Well, I don't know that. I'm just throwing that out there. It could be a wood dock too. I don't know.
It
what-
changes the
Okay.
area.
So wait a minute.
But what I'm saying is that would be within the same footprint that he currently has
Yes.
today. and he's gonna have more area at the end of that dock for a boat. or
He- well, he
maneuver
will-
in and out.
Yeah, wait a minute, but he
More
could,
furnace space.
he could get rid of and stay within the footprint.
Right.
He could get rid of that 5 footer in the ramp. Bring the whole thing in, take the 7'6" section, turn it sideways as a T, like you said,
Right.
and stay within the footprint of. the
And
original dock.
still be less square footage than he
And still,
previously
yes,
was.
that would work,
So that's a consideration we could,
yes,
and
and.
it falls within the guidelines.
So wait a minute,
and it falls
so then it'd be 25 long,
It would be 25,
7'6" at that.
Or it
at
could-
the head,
yeah,
and
Well, it
5
could
feet
go to-
wide.
It could go to 28. or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you could.
The original
That's
was
an
20.
original.
Well, you keep telling me they don't make aluminum docks. I'm sure somebody does somewhere, but.
Well, what he could do
You could-
is he could replace. He could do two. How do you do that?
Make a,
Cause he could go 27.5.
28 zero.
No, it's gonna be 10.
No, but he could,
It's this. it's
well,
this.
whatever,
That's the original.
I get it, but he
Like
could.
it's this.
He could do that,
Right,
but he also, if he wanted to go all the way to 20, to stay with it, he could do the numbers. And it's escaping me at the moment how to do
This is
that.
20.
but,
It's 20 and a half, right? Yeah.
But either way, I think you have the option. Chris, easily you have the option to turn that 7'6"
Into a T.
into a T at the end.
And not exceed the
And,
28.
and there's some permutation of this, and I apologize, it's been a long day. There's some permutation of this where you could come out 27.5 feet. And still have the 7'6" T at the end?
Yep.
Yes, there is. I know there is, just.
What size docks are available that you're worried about? What size docks do you try to get on beach?
Oh, I know how it is.
Keep it.
Right, one
You could make it now, but doing it.
Whatever, there's too many, okay, Chris. You can keep it within the footprint, if you can keep what you wanna do within the footprint, you have 7.5 by 28 feet to work with. And there's another permutation of this, and I haven't figured it out yet, that you could go 27.5. Long with that 7'6" T at the end, I have.
Which is 5 foot wide then.
It's
Maintains
5 foot wide, but he still has the T at the end.
You
He
could also
still,
do this,
Right.
It's a
Yeah, you
turn.
only got 27.5.
Take it, you turn it.
yes,
you could do that.
Can you show
Right.
Which is what he's got right now,
yeah,
in modular.
You can't tie a boat,
20 feet.
You do it in L.
no, he wants
Just
25.
there's another option.
He's got
Yeah,
that first.
you could stack these, you could stack the 7'6" sideways if you wanted and go out that way.
No,
So you could do a number of things here,
Oh.
but I just,
that's what.
Could I ask one question? Could I do it where it's still the 5 feet, like I have it coming off with a retaining wall there, like on the plan? But instead of doing the T, can it be an L? Because what I'm trying to do is on the plan, on the left-hand side, I want to keep that just kind of a straight run. So that I could, have a long straight run. So instead of the T like you're talking about, it'd be an L. And it would be sticking further, it'd be sticking further to the right. So I'm not within the existing footprint, but I'm still within the existing like dimensions that I have. It'd just be sticking, it'd be closer to the center.
The L goes out to 7'6".
Yeah.
You're
that's
saying
fine.
the same footprint.
that's fine.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it'd just be closer to the center of the property, which I think is the intent anyways.
Yeah,
So Chris, you come out 5 on one side and only L at 2.6?
yeah,
If that's
You'll have-
if that's what you guys are saying, that sounds
That's what
like
you're saying, is
Yeah.
yeah, from outside the footprint, you
Yeah.
can't go beyond that.
right.
So our recommendation is an L.
An L or a T?
No, it's, the recommendation is staying within the original footprint dimensions At least that's what I'm hearing.
28 by 7.
28 by,
No,
7.5.
25. It's 25.
No,
the original was 28.
The original. you can
So,
get
so
20.
sections of dock that you wanna buy, what size are they, 5 by 8? So if you had 3 5x8s and a T of a 5x8 at the end, that would just about be the same amount, right?
5 by 7.5.
Yeah, I
That makes
think-
sense to anybody?
He wants an L, not a T.
No, so an L would be the same, an L is a soft set. So he buys 8-foot sections, you buy 4 8-foot sections.
That's 24.
Yeah.
By 5 feet, 24, and 5 is
Guys, yeah, that's not,
29, I
that's
mean,
not
that's what you
Chris?
buy.
Chris, sorry for the,
Can't get any longer, or any wider than.
Discussion here.
the
All good.
roundabout, I'm trying to solve your problem.
I like it.
Maybe having too much fun doing it, but I think everybody is in agreement here, if I'm hearing it correctly, is that if you stay within the footprint dimensions, you can either do a T or an L,
Whatever you want.
whatever you want.
Perfect.
You can't stay in the footprint if you're gonna do a T.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, for the 5 feet.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
It's a very
You can't.
tiny.
Yeah, very, but an L will give you more on one side,
Right.
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 So,
But he can't buy a 7.5, he can buy an 8.
Yeah, you can.
no,
Seven.
they're 7.5.
There's a
He
seven.
can buy a 7.5?
Yeah,
Right
that's,
here on the plan.
Well, he's got it. right
that's,
in
he's
the-
already got a 7.5.
Yeah.
I thought that's what the cement pyramid.
It's
No.
7.6.
No, his,
Look at the drawing.
So as long
the
as it stays
sections he can buy is
Well, you know.
5 by 5, 5 by 7.5,
Oh, that's perfect.
and 5 by 10. So there's a permutation of this where he
Right.
can you can maximize your dock within
Right.
the original footprint dimensions.
Yep,
Okay.
I think with that direction, I can figure out a way to make it work. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Not gonna be-
So am I hearing the potential for approving the demolition, which was excellent, how he presented it?
Yeah, by the way, yeah, this is one of the best,
Yes.
this is, are you in the design?
He's an architect.
You're not, you cheated.
Sorry, I tried to keep it a secret.
Slight permutation within the footprint square footage, is that what I'm hearing? Within the
Well,
footprint,
he can put how the sections that he wants
Right.
together,
correct?
as long as he stays within the original
28
footprint.
by 7.
28 by 7.5,
That's-
and it could be a T, it could be an L.
Right, it's reconstructing and it's reducing the size of the.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Hold on one second.
Wait,
He also
question.
Also has stairs. He also has stairs up by the retaining wall.
Where are stairs?
No,
There's.
Yeah, he's taking, but that includes in his footprint.
Oh, he's removing the stairs.
no, you gotta go to the close print.
We're splitting hairs with dimensions.
No.
Does he also get to add the stairs?
No, it has to be within the footprint.
Of the dock.
Not the stairs.
No.
He
stairs-
can put the stairs back in if he wants to, but it has to be stairs.
Yeah, you can put the stairs back in.
Put the stairs.
Yeah, you can put the stairs back in if you want.
It's your call. The
Okay,
stairs are
that's-
separate from the dock.
Yeah,
Okay.
but those could go back in for sure.
At
So
the
do we
same
need a
location.
motion, Mike?
At the same location.
Do we need
Yep.
a motion?
No.
A motion to approve.
I just, yeah.
No,
You only
No,
make a
yeah.
suggestion.
Are you gonna resubmit on this,
Yeah, he has to-
Chris?
Yes.
If you'd like, I could send a new plan in with kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah, that would be great.
I would suggest we approve the demolition plan,
Yeah.
so they can get going with that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Because the rest can be put
yes,
in when the water starts coming
Thank you.
in.
Good thought.
But we're also,
Yeah.
aren't we also?
That'd be awesome.
doing plan Based on him holding the original footprint,
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
To see
Yeah.
that.
so let's approve it.
No, we
No,
need to see it.
you gotta see documentation.
yeah, he's gotta resubmit,
Before we got him.
but he understands the. What it is.
Or we can approve the demolition so we can get going.
Yes, and we can, and conditionally approve.
And conditionally approved pending
Gotcha.
site map review.
Yeah, but putting the new,
Correct.
staying within the footprint,
Correct.
okay.
Do we need a
Can you
motion?
say that again?
Okay, motion to approve the dock replacement for Christopher, okay, one.
Monte.
Thank you.
Yep.
Approval with approval of the demolition plan as is.
Yeah.
And, conditional on review of revised site map to stay within The footprint of that.
the proposed plan. Yep.
I second.
Second, all in
Thank you.
favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving on, we have a permit from Karen Lewis.
Yeah, this has not been reviewed by wetlands and we have not done an official site visit.
Okay,
We've only done unofficial.
Auditor's site visit.
So wetlands will review it next week. They do have, a proposal in this, which we can discuss at the next meeting, to lengthen their dock because of water depth. And, when we were at +2, over at the dam, they had an issue. They really do. So,
Yeah,
I think we need a site plan on this one because I believe it's a pie-shaped lot. It's in Cove and it's a pie-shaped lot. They only have 35-foot frontage and I believe the
Right.
lines go like this.
okay.
So I think we gotta know where this is
Sure.
gonna be
No,
with
and that's
the,
fine.
with the extended property lines.
I can get that one.
If they've got a 35-foot frontage, it's grandfathered already because it's not 50 feet.
But not the length. The length may be on the property, line. You don't know where the property line is.
I gotta look that up. I didn't
But I mean,
call it being
if
that small.
they had no dock here now, they wouldn't have a dock.
I appreciate that.
So
If it is
so
35 feet.
but their dock is there, yeah.
So it's an exception to
And the
start.
dock doesn't need
To
to.
start,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
But the extended
Okay.
property lines, I believe, are going like this.
So we need a site map for next month.
Showing property lines.
I will get that.
So that'll go on the agenda for next month for
Yeah.
approval.
All right. Moving on.
But we still have that 7 Webster Lane. I didn't put it on the agenda only because Mary had said that it was going to be pulled,
It was full.
so it's definitely pulled.
Jennifer sent the email out. It was
Okay.
full.
Okay.
Sticker shock.
Really?
In there.
Okay. Anything on the dam emergency plan? Okay, water quality, yeah, right,
I think it's on new business. We can chat about it.
okay. Fishing,
Surveys tomorrow night.
okay,
Henry has graciously volunteered to join them.
They do it at night?
It's a night.
you're gonna go with them?
Yeah, 6 to 10, I guess.
Why is it not?
6 to 10.
Why is it at night?
Maybe because it doesn't upset the neighborhood.
I don't know.
So they
They've
get
been
it
doing
over
it
time?
since 1995. and
They always do.
Night electric
Yeah.
fishing.
So that they get over.
Yes,
See the
maybe.
fish jump out of the water.
I doubt that, but.
How do you count fish at night?
Last night.
I realize
They
that.
have 2 electrodes and they shot the fish, and the fish float up, they scoop them up. Put them on the boat, they measure them, see what type they are, and then throw them back in the water.
Yeah.
I didn't know they, some of them survive.
I saw a film or a video.
Doing 4 hours, they're not gonna do completely around the lake, obviously. Do we have any particular spots that we?
I would think
Well,
that
I-
they would do the same spot every time.
I would tell, if that's the case, where all the sand is coming in from Hennepin Road between the beach
Oh,
and.
yeah, my curve would be,
I think we have some aquatic issues because sand destroys aquatic life. So that would be one where we should have an assessment and we could probably compare that to 2000.
But I would think they would do it in the same place every year if they're gonna be
Yeah,
consistent.
I would
with
think
their
they
findings.
Yeah.
Well, they did it in 2004, so they have that data.
Yeah, so they should be
So
doing the
whatever
same
it
spots.
But I would just be curious.
They're doing this, yes. Do
I
the
can
same.
tell you that there are fewer fish nests over there.
Okay,
Honestly.
all right. And anything, all good there? Access, safety and regulations. Did we ever? Were there any reports or anything that were coming, I thought? No,
Well, they weren't coming tonight. They said they weren't going to come tonight. I don't know why they're not gonna come till January, Brian or Beth.
Sure, there were.
I mean, Debbie.
The Marine Patrol.
Yeah,
Based on the need for perhaps timing after the November 17th or 21st, Board of Selectmen meeting. Until we get our hands around the town ordinances and what we want to do, they will delay their development of policies around it. They're already developing the policies for next year. And they're very interested in understanding the penalties for town ordinances and how that's going to be done.
okay,
The second reason was because we have the annual report on December 7th. And I'll be presenting something to prepare us all for the water quality discussion. But we have a significant, we need discussion on what's becoming more and more a cyanobacteria issue. So as a result, Mark asked to delay Marine Patrol until
Okay.
January.
Okay.
okay. Very good.
He was supposed to call you.
Watershed management plan, any updates there? No. Stormwater culverts. Yeah. We'll let Mark comment on budget next time we see him. All right, open business, update on Webster Lane. That's withdrawn, so that's closed, right? Webster Lane.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's closed.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
approved,
withdrawn.
we approved 2 of the 3 and 1 was withdrawn,
Right.
Okay.
so.
So that's done, retro fishing, that's updated. Gate repair,
This is the dam gauge.
Yeah. We don't know
We're
anything.
going out to bid last time around, I guess without Mark here, we don't know.
okay,
Okay. So,
message board,
we don't know because
That's not here.
they're not here.
Are they
Yeah.
using it yet? I don't even know.
Oh, yeah, they used it since the day we put it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
good.
there's signs up there.
Good.
I'll make a point to check with Mark to make sure that that's gone out to bid and see where it is. If there's any surprises, I'll send around an email on the gate repair.
Okay.
One other thing on the message board, we ought to just do a quick review of what we should post there, and maybe the new ordinances,
yeah,
or, maybe not all of them, but just a couple on safety and usage and.
Right.
we'll just keep it open for right now, and then, the only thing I would say is, do we wanna add anything for ice fishing?
Yes, I was gonna suggest
Yeah.
right off the bat, we should be reviewing that in December, because last time we found out they were being told to dump it in the culvert that went back into the cove. That we were just talking about it, so we wanna
Yeah,
have it be in a barrel and there, it might be a good idea to have the barrel right by the sign.
Yeah.
yeah,
Let
okay,
alone the safety issues of how many inches of ice before they start walking on it.
all right, so we'll have effectively a warm weather, cold weather content
To the board.
protocol for that. First wants to come back.
Did we basically leave it to the fishermen, whether or not it's safe or not?
Excuse
We leave it to the fishermen whether or not it's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
absolutely.
can just give the
Absolutely.
education.
There's no requirement that we need to post anything.
No. Well, there never has been.
Yeah,
I mean, they fish out there when it's open.
yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah.
okay,
They are crazier because they don't know, they walk out on the ice and they don't know what was open two nights before.
Right.
Right.
And so it may be, but we can't do anything about it. It could be nicely 4 inches and safe on one place, but it could be 2 inches.
oh, yeah,
It's hard to post what is safe depth of ice versus what maybe.
well, that's really up to the town, if that's the risk they wanna take, yeah.
I
so-
think
Well,
that's a
shouldn't we be
li-
recommending that to the town?
I think that's a liability risk.
Yeah.
because-
For risk assessment?
Well, I think it's better to say skate at your own risk.
But we have safety regulations along with our town ordinances that we
Yeah.
post today. So wouldn't that be a safety regulation, whether it's frozen or not frozen?
Doesn't the state have
I don't know,
There's no.
just the guidelines.
Standard, I think.
Hey, guys, we got a full schedule tonight, so let's, we're gonna leave that as an open item on the message board
No, just, I want to say that one side of the message board is lake and the other side is
Right.
rec, so it's a good double usage.
Yep.
Good.
Alright, I'm gonna kind of move past these last items here and then just leave them open, okay, and then move into algae patches.
Okay. Of course, I can't fit that. I just want to, update you on the history of cyanobacteria on this lake, and we talked to Chipman, as well as previous annual reports from our previous ecosystems lake consultant and TRC lake consultant. So I'm gonna just provide 3 quick overviews, and then I have a handout which will prepare us for the presentation at the annual of the annual report in December. Carl Newsom will be here on December 6th for that presentation of the annual report of Columbia Lake. So just very quickly, in 1992, and Chip was kind enough to give me this workbook, there was a cyanobacteria algae patch bloom observed, and it led to the development of the watershed management plan. I have the draft from 95, I think it was implemented, give or take, in 1998. So the good news was, for Columbia Lake, we have a watershed management plan, and the 2 most important things implemented were, we're going to continue to do lake quality assessment of water transparency, oxygen depth, and phosphorus, which of course phosphorus too much can lead to algae and or cyanobacteria, the toxic algae. The other good news was we implemented a nutrient allocation plan for new and existing land development. And obviously anything that is redone, we have nutrient allocation. What was not implemented and yet is recommended in this watershed management are 2 areas: stormwater management and septic system management. I'm not going to get into detail, but next month, you're going to hear some things about stormwater management, potential of septic management, as well as how do you manage what's already in the lake, the phosphorus load. So that all happened in the 1990s. Fast forward 2014 through 2023, we've started to see first these blue-green paint chips. Nobody knew what they were. Then swirls, nobody knew what they were. And finally, in 15, Dr. Portman alerted us that they were likely cyanobacteria, and he gave us a presentation in October of 2015 at LMAC about what it is and what to do. We really didn't do anything since then, but since 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23, we are seeing cyanobacteria on this lake, and we're not just seeing it when the lake turns over, which is typically October. We're seeing it in June, July, August. And there are particular dates, and I have actual pictures from those dates of what we have seen. This year, we had a pretty significant amount of cyanobacteria, to the point when Carl Nielsen, our consultant, came out, he said, wow, this has been significantly different than the history of what your lake shows. So on December 6th, we're going to get an overview of our transparency, our dissolved oxygen, our phosphorus load, why cyanobacteria blooms. I have a copy for you, Phyllis. Native plant growth and proposed solutions. The solutions will be on, do we control, and he feels they have to be multiple over a period of years, if not decades, controlling phosphorus input, managing phosphorus in the lake already, or withdrawing phosphorus. And be prepared. This gives you the history of why he's proposing what he's going to propose, which I'm not sure what it is. And then on the back, I put the lake consultant's comments since 2019, starting with Courtney's comments about the ever-growing issue of cyanobacteria and ending with TRC's comments. This is just to help us prepare for what the presentation is and what potential solutions may be recommended. Okay, so I have a copy for everyone.
Thank you.
And if anyone wants to see the pictures, I have actual pictures that I started taking. I actually started taking them in 2016 when Bob Powell came in from the Marine Patrol and told me about this putrid thing that was decaying in the middle of Verdoni, roadside of the lake, but, unfortunately, in a download, I lost 5 years of pictures, so you have, if anybody wants to see any pictures from 2019 and 2022.
Were those the ones that you sent out, Mary, or not? Or those?
I only sent out this year's pictures. Oh, right. These are from 2019, and I can send this to you electronically, Phyllis, for the records.
Yeah, thank you.
So there you have it, you have a little bit of the history and why we'll have a presentation focused on this, as it's becoming more and more and more an issue.
Anecdotally, I can say that it's been around for a lot longer than 92, but
Yes.
not in the fashion that we're seeing it now. It has been built and escalating, and I think Cortman, I'm glad we changed. I think Cortman was ignoring the issue for some years when we had outbreaks, but they didn't last long enough for him to get out and see them and so forth. But so we do need to try to reverse the trend and get back to where they maybe just happening occasionally.
I mean, so everyone understands, every water body is dying. It's called eutrophication, maybe that term. It's dying. What's happening though, are humans are accelerating the aging of potentially Columbia Lake, which I believe is happening, as well as any other water body that humans tend to use. So can we decelerate is what we need to focus on.
Okay.
And
Can I add something, to Chip's point, the last time he was here, he talked about lake management and water level management, excessive amount of rainfall, the fact that a lot of lands, adjacent lands are saturated, and that causes septic systems not to function correctly, maybe, and maybe overflow. And I'm just wondering if there's any correlation between the excessive amount of rain in a calendar year, or within the last 5 years, and how would that impact to the cyanobacteria increase?
We do know that every time it rains, phosphate washes into the lake. Our phosphate control plan is designed to try to catch the first half inch of that, which is probably more phosphate rich, but it continues to come. It probably at that point, there's no longer washing it off of our roofs, but it is pulling it out of the air in terms of the particles the raindrops fall on. And so we do get little green algae blooms after even a thunderstorm in the summer when it's dumped a half inch of rain or so. So phosphate does get into the lake. Lake management had done with Portman, and Bob may be able to speak more to this, or Jim Santos could, occasional phosphate checks for septic issues at site-specific areas based on what they were observing on land. This, maybe this could be a problem. Fortunately, those did not return an issue, but there's no doubt that we're putting phosphates into our septic fields less than we did 20 years ago, fortunately, because soaps no longer have phosphate in them as well. And there is a history of the town looking at having pump out ordinances, but then having differences of opinion with the state and the public health district on it. So they've never gone anywhere, but that doesn't mean that we can't revisit that again.
Okay.
So to Bob's point and to Henry's point, to your point of this hydrology thing, what the hell's, going on? This is an outlier year. We had 36 inches of rain. We normally get 11.
Right,
Yeah. 20 weekends, 17 have rained. I've already contacted someone who's who I know personally, who is a civil engineer who has hydrology certification and works for 2 water communities or districts in upstate New York. So I can provide some data on that. But the bottom line was, he said, unless you do the appropriate geological and gradient assessments of elevations, et cetera, you won't know if too much water is causing some of the issues that we're seeing. To Henry's point, they actually recommended in 1998 stormwater management, and we never have implemented anything. Cultivated drainage systems, oil separator, valve catch basins, particle separators. They did the same with septics, and we have never really
So
implemented.
some type of a sand trap filtering the
Yeah.
nutrients before they even get into the lake.
That
and then
was
you have to
recommended,
maintain the-
I think it was at the Town Beach. They said site specific, with an offline first flush treatment at the Town Beach. So these recommendations have been on the books in our water management plan for 25 years. We've got to start to look at and say, is it time for us to consider, actions that over decades, we're gonna probably have to. So that way.
All right, thank you. It's very helpful. Okay. Moving along, town ordinance review.
Mike, you were there,
I was there. So, did the board of selectmen get their copies?
They're getting it tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
okay.
But
So, Mary and I partied with the board of selectmen at our last meeting. Yeah. And presented, it was actually, Mary put together a great presentation, very succinct
with Bobson.
with Bob's help.
Very little, very little help.
Yeah, and which was very helpful to at least have a graphic to help present what was coming. And it was, well received, and we kept it simple, very high level. This is the format that you are going to see. This is an example of what you're going to see. And here's the status now, and here's the proposed timeline with the, deliverable being before, and the reason for the timeline and, making the deliverable prior to the, next season. So they understand, what's coming, why it's coming, what the timeline is, and, what's gonna be, expected, or, as we, humbly put it, requested, understanding that they've got a lot of other priorities in town as well, so.
Is that the timeline that Bob put out?
Yeah, there was a modification
Yeah,
to that,
Just reversing the DEP and
Right.
in the town, so.
basic timelines.
Did we send the presentation to
No.
everybody?
No, and I'm happy to do that, only talking to the subcommittee.
Yeah,
And I can send it with the outcome, because the outcome and takeaway was, this is what we want. And they committed to reviewing it November 21st, so between now and November 21st, they're gonna read the red line copy. Henry and I created the rationale as to why we did this, and I'll hand those out so that you can see this, but I can send this all to you electronically.
yeah, I think everyone.
What will they be doing on the 21st?
The 21st, after reviewing, they're getting this rationale plus the red line.
Right.
They're gonna come back with their questions, alteration, changes, edits.
Back to us.
We'll be at the
To the
BOS.
subcommittee?
So I would encourage everyone to be at the BOS on November 21st.
I'd like to say that Mary's done more than a yeoman's job, or yeoman's job
yeah.
Yeah,
on this project.
What is November 20th?
yes,
And I apologize to the whole group that apparently there was a misunderstanding. I was supposed to do something more last week that I didn't do, and so we're potentially a week behind.
We gotta
Hopefully the board will catch up on it. We're not giving them directly what they wanted, because of the fact it was gonna cost too much, because they wanted it all be on one sheet of paper and 3 columns, and it wasn't gonna be able to be presented this way, but I think this gives them what they want, and they can go back and forth.
And it wasn't only cost, It was, in business, typically you do red lines.
Yeah.
You know,
Any
this is what the old one
government.
said in black and the new one says this in red.
Yeah, and that's what, so software programs are set up to do this, software
one click.
programs weren't set up to do what they.
Yeah.
And Rich Roberts also went on that line, to say, which I think is a huge positive, there are no legal issues in the adjustments and the changes. It's will Deep accept them or not.
Yeah.
He didn't see anything legal, and which the board of selectmen were concerned about the legal issues. And Rich Roberts has gone on record, he said, this isn't about legality, this is about do we accept these changes or not. So.
Okay, great.
Good.
Any questions on that?
So is the public coming to the 21st meeting as well? Is it, all right, so it's just.
It's just BOS and as many LMAC members.
Well, it's open to the public.
Yeah, but it's not advertised.
Well, it's not being,
It's not a
Yeah.
public hearing.
nor have we provided the red line changes to anyone but the BOS.
But that has to be advertised. It'll be noticed.
Well, it'll be on the board of selectmen agenda.
Yeah, it'll be on their agenda and that sort of thing, and people can come and
Yeah,
do
we
it.
don't want to see it.
It's not being noticed.
It's not a public
It's
hearing.
not a public hearing.
It's the standard of BOS meeting.
And Doug will be there.
Yeah. Yes, you will.
Could there potentially be leaked copies? Yes. But we don't, it's not
This is public
officially
information, it's not like.
being shared.
I mean,
Get the
this-
BOS feedback first and then we
Yeah.
adjust and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, we are going through the process and every resident of town has the ability to be updated on, you know,
Yeah.
goings on in town, and this is one of them.
And we're not gonna get through this process without a public hearing, at
Yeah.
least if not a town meeting. And, we, gotta be prepared that there's gonna be other ideas presented and, very hard questions asked, so,
Yeah.
this is just the start of the process.
Very good. Anything else to update on that?
Mike, there's only one other thing I have. I was asked by, the town if we had minutes from the 26th meeting. Of course, I wasn't there. And I know that it was,
God, what was that?
That was our special meeting.
that was,
I
yeah,
have some minutes.
you have minutes?
You have minutes?
Minutes. Just notes.
Okay, can you
Thank
get
you.
them? Yeah, please, yeah, because they want them.
We reviewed the town ordinances and we revised them.
That's exactly what it was.
That's it, yeah.
I would not go into depth.
Specifics, yeah.
Please,
That's
that's
what
very
the-
well. I just need the time and whatever.
I got that in blue there.
Yeah, yeah, please,
That's what we're. Avoid that, take note.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So we will move the town ordinance to review to open business.
Yeah.
And certainly invite everybody to be there on the 21st.
Be here.
Be here.
That'd be last.
Yeah.
Right, at this point.
Chris, you've joined us back. I'm sure it's hard to stay away.
It's riveting.
Did you have anything, any questions that you, or questions?
Yeah, I forgot to ask, I know you guys approved things, but just as far as the rest of the approvals, because I know your guys is just a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. I just want to make sure I'm not starting work or planning anything ahead of when I should be. So I was curious about what the next steps were as far as the approval process goes and when I can actually start planning for things.
BOS meeting is when? It's
There's,
not the 7th because.
it's gonna be the,
14th.
14th, yes.
So, November 14th will,
So,
a letter will be written.
so, yeah,
Whether there's a change in that, I think they,
Is our guidelines 10 by 10?
so hold on, Christopher.
But
There
as part of his
raft.
application, he's asking for a raft.
Oh,
12 by 12.
Well,
12 by
he's
12 is
asking-
our standard size. Or
what
it
is our
10?
standard size?
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
You can go up to 12 by 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one really does, that's really big.
Then he's fine, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
But that, we didn't vote on that.
Oh.
yeah, so are we sending a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen on his?
So we'll send a letter saying we approve the demolition, we're still conditional, but we want him to start the demolition.
Yeah,
Conditional on the dot structure,
resubmitting the site.
and we bless the way.
okay.
I mean,
So,
he's entitled to.
so on the Board of Selectmen should approve that on the 14th.
Chris, are you doing a new raft? There was a raft with that property. It was not out in the water, but, are you doing a new raft, building a new raft?
Yeah, we would probably do an inflatable, to be honest with you. That's kind of the initial thought. But there was no raft that we saw out there when we moved in. So the idea is it would be a new one.
Maybe.
So I'll get a letter to Jennifer.
Float it away.
I'll get your. Whose signature is on it? Oh, you speak Steve Herring? Well,
Yeah.
No, mine's-
It works for me.
the whole doc.
Yeah.
I had one more question if I might. So the demolition, in case the timing of stuff, doesn't work out for the rest of this year for putting the new dock in, if I get the approval, say in December, how long do I have to actually put the new dock in? Is that good for a year? Like, how long is the approval good for in case, financially something doesn't work out? I'm just curious what my window is.
2 years, 2 years.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. That's wonderful. All right, awesome. Cool. Thank you very much.
Just because there's been precedent, with this type of dock system, because its impact on the lake bed is so minimal that they've been put in after the fact, even in high water.
What's the
Right.
date of construction? March 15th.
Yeah, but we've seen these
But
dock,
because it's a floating dock or.
no, it's not floating, this is
Yeah.
but these just get, they're,
It's setting on pads.
it's just setting on pads that, you have.
So it's not considered construction.
Right, it's not, yeah.
Right,
So-
and that's
so
why I
some-
asked in case I missed the window of when the water's down, if it happens in April or, May. I just want to know what my window is. So it's okay if the water's filled back up in the springtime and I pop this thing back in there?
As long as you're wearing a wetsuit.
Because many people pull them out in the winter time and put them back in.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's very, it's not a big, I have this style of dock myself, and offers a tremendous amount of flexibility.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just, the pad goes down, you adjust the post and it's done, there's no
And you're done.
digging, there's no foundations, there's nothing, it just goes on, so,
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
no problem. Come back anytime.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay, next, up is, on the new business, I think we already spoke about it, but the resignation of Steve Harrington, was there any discussion on that?
The only thing that I have to qualify for Jen is, did he write a letter? I know he sent an email.
You sent an email, that's all we got.
Okay,
I never received a letter.
That would move that we accept it with regret.
yeah.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And the trifold ordinance handout.
Does that go back to Deb?
I don't think we want to do it, try.
Well, we don't
know
wanna-
what our ordinance.
So we have.
Yeah, so I,
Keep it open?
yeah, I guess you could keep, well, it really is a subtask of the ordinance review, so it could just kind of
Just
go
throw it
along,
in there,
along-
yeah.
go along
Okay.
with that, but it's
We have it in the message board. It's already there.
the old trifold.
The current one.
Yeah,
Okay.
So when we update.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So then that would be Rex responsibility or Marine Patrol's responsibility on that trifold, or is that gonna be ours?
Well, I think,
I happily delegate, because I know on LMAC who it might end up.
The problem with giving it to someone else, and this has happened in the past, is
Yes.
they edit it.
yes.
Well,
And they don't
under,
really-
I'm happy to work with Deb, she's easy to work with.
Yeah,
I don't think she did, but somebody else prior to
Oh,
her
I know.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm well.
advised it where half the stuff wasn't in.
Yeah,
Well, and there was also, let's just call it misinterpretation.
Yes.
Oh, and also,
Adjustment.
the 2 pages, it's 2.5 by 11 pages, there were probably 100 grammatical errors.
The
So my wife was a stickler for that, she read marked it, gave it back, and he has a dog ever since.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. So let's, that'll stay in open business.
Yep.
And I just, like I said, I would tie it in with the, town ordinance review, because it's really step one becomes step two. Okay, I glossed over the Sposito Minicucci Woodland Terrace, culvert. The Minicucci's went in there and actually cleaned it out during a rainstorm and got it flowing again. But with that,
And move a foot.
yes, yeah, foot, with a short trip to the ER after. But I think it brings up just, you know, we're sort of using this as an example of other issues in town, and while this is now running free, there are still issues with it. How sustainable will this be? Because I think the old one was paved, or, you know, it was, you know, it was not a natural, terrain or swale, you know, it was, I think there was some pavement in it, and, you know, so the issue is like, what's gonna happen now, and whose responsibility is it? Is it the town's responsibility? Okay, so if so, what does that look like? And, you know, I think, you know, we just need to, obviously, we have other things going on as well with the town, but, you know, what's our next step? And talking with Mark Walter about it.
And we, well. Did anybody, either two landowners, present any information to you with respect to deed restrictions or anything reference of it?
Well, so there is a property dispute.
Yes, I know there is.
Yeah.
Property dispute, but I mean, is there reference to a town drainage right or anything else?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And
I think that was the reason for it. I think,
Okay,
yeah.
so then the issue, then it is the town's responsibility to maintain it.
Okay,
That's why I was saying, I didn't know whether there's, some of our draining is probably just so historic, there's nothing in any deed or whatever, it's just kind of the natural flow of water, and it happens to go over somebody's land. And maybe the landowner or the town at some point put some riprap in it, and so that there's less clarity about who's supposed to be maintaining it. But in all instances, it should be the town's responsibility, because the water's coming off of, or the state's responsibility, depending on
Where it's coming.
where it's coming.
yeah,
There are at least two other properties that have contacted me, saying that it's in their deed. And they're having issues. Who didn't have issues this year?
yeah, right,
They're saying.
Yeah.
You know, the town created this and it's in our deed. And I said, well, you need to get that deed and show it to the town. And they said,
yeah.
And there's others that aren't, I have one that is not in my deed. So it's my,
So here's.
I mean, it's a catch basin, it empties under the road on my property.
Is Carl checking into those when he's out there to see if any of that issues with phosphate coming down through
Oh,
those
right, yeah.
particular?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be,
Stormwater drainage and stormwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll present next. But the next step, which we've been kind of sitting on for 2 years, is we need to do an assessment of the major stormwater drainage culverts going into the lake.
yeah,
And the town, unless we are unanimous, and we need to talk and understand the science and the data and why, is gonna be reluctant to do that.
yeah, they're starting outside of the lake, if you notice what Mark presented to us a couple of months ago.
Correct.
That they were looking at stormwater culverts everywhere else, but around the lake, I think they only had 1 or 2 places on the lake that they were going to address.
That's correct.
Mhm.
Well,
That's the watershed.
the town, without our knowledge, installed a new stormwater culvert on the lake road. And we were never even aware of it, and a brand new one, because the guy's driveway keeps
It's
going.
about 30 feet from another.
Yeah, you know, yeah. So we need to coordinate. The town is responsible for Columbia Lake, the town bought Columbia Lake. And I think they're trying to renege sometimes on their responsibility because of this. Well, it's an investment, and over decades, we can invest appropriately to get the return. Like Columbia Lake.
Yeah.
And we have not been investing over 25 years.
We haven't, it's been more, well, somewhat investing and somewhat ignorance. And so
Yeah.
we're taking the ignorance off the table, and putting a timeline.
Can't unsee it.
Once you
Unless you
know,
shoot all the witnesses.
once you know, you're charged with responsibility.
That's right.
Ignorance is bliss.
Okay, and then the last, I think is update on the, permit link and software.
No real change on that,
Okay.
but Deb, from the rec department would like to leverage that as well with the Marine Patrol. So I did have a discussion with her on how we could potentially leverage it, and that would be a whole nother system. I don't know if you want to go into the details.
We will.
We'll get talk about that.
Wait, everybody.
I'm sorry, did that
It would allow the Marine Patrol to have a database,
Yeah.
most even short.
Yeah.
And before you even launch your boat, there's a database before the boat shows up at the gate that go in the water, so. It's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah.
It's kind of a brainstorm I had, and
Yeah.
Dad loves it, and just, it would have to come to reality and a little bit of money.
It's another investment.
It's another investment.
Another, that's about ignorance now.
One of the things that could be on that, which is a sort of pet peeve, is we know that there's some overpowered boats on the lake. People have done things to mask horsepower.
Yeah,
And there's an easy way during the inspection to check on that, and that's just looking at the serial number of the outboard, because the serial number will have, just as a bin boat identification number has the year, not manufacturer, the serial number has the year.
but import.
Well, import's gonna be different. That's pretty easy. You just open up the engine column and see 4 cylinders and it meets the requirements. If you see 6, it doesn't. So.
So I would tell you, I was down there on some volunteer inspections, because I did some volunteer time down there.
Mhm.
And the moment you just say, you know, you have your clipboard or whatever, and the moment you say, could I see this? Even to the point is, does your light work on the boat? The person's personality deteriorates to so hostile.
Then,
So wait a minute, so it's so bad, so I get on the walkie-talkie, boat patrol comes in, and the next thing you know, the person doesn't have their license, the person doesn't have a working life, they don't have a registration, they don't have anything, and they're hostile towards you. And you say, no, you can't come on, you gotta get these things in order, and then they come back and they have it in order. But the moment you challenge, in this day and age, it's pretty bad.
It's unconscionable.
All
We
right,
have 2 men down there when we're doing it.
is there any, Sarah?
Yeah,
no, but if you're putting together something from Marine Patrol, it's like a checklist of things that they have to fill in the blanks and all that stuff.
The thought process was is get the inspection off the critical path, right? You show up down at the lake and you gotta wait, you gotta find a marine, so all that data can already be there in their system before you pull in with your boat. All you do is pull up your address and there's your boat with a copy of the registration, upload. I mean, I'm using technology here and maybe not everybody's gonna be able to do it, but it's a step forward.
So people
Where-
can fill something out ahead of.
Anybody that wants to put a boat on this year can start doing it in January, February, March. As soon as you get your registration, go through the checklist, check it off, that you checked it yourself, upload a copy of your registration, you pull up to the gate, they pull up your address, boom, the date is there, okay, toot your horn, put your lights on and go.
Well, they have
We want a
to
picture of
verify,
your
they have to
engine.
verify.
We want a picture of.
Sure.
well, you wanna make sure that they've even registered,
Well,
because folks on the lake aren't
But
registered.
it prevents the Marine Patrol guy from there getting his glasses out, looking what the VIN number is in your registration, copying it down in his book. You know, getting that, it's just,
They don't do
20
that.
minutes, 20
Well,
minutes
no,
per
they don't do
inspection.
that. They don't do
They-
that.
Well, they should.
Well,
They do that.
But I would challenge yours, I think they should at least go out and make sure the engine hasn't been changed.
Correct.
Yeah, so.
What I'm saying is, they do their normal inspection, but all the documentation, and there's a database created for each boat on that lake now in the Marine Patrol system. all the other stuff's still gonna happen, we're just gonna do a little bit faster.
Yes, you can do 95% of it online, you still
Sure.
need to visually check.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that will accelerate.
So we
And
can,
then you could also have a little section, if one of the voters gets a fine, you just pull up their address in the database and write it in, boom, you're done. Now the Marine Patrol has a database. Per
And
vote.
and it helps marinas who deliver these boats,
I haven't.
that the owner is responsible for doing this all online.
Yes, the owner can do it, yeah, I mean, so, look, it's
So
just
there's a lot
kind of
of-
an idea, another brainstorm,
Good
see,
idea.
see if we can bring it to reality.
okay,
But I'll definitely show what we're thinking of to the elementary before we're going any further.
great.
Good update.
All right, anything else before we break and keep it on time tonight?
All right,
Since we're having the annual report at the next meeting. Right. Which will take-
I was ready to say motion,
Wait a minute, which will take a long time. I think. It's gonna be,
there is gonna be some discussion.
presentation is gonna be discussion, I think the majority of the meeting, so. Given that.
Should the agenda, well, the agenda will have to reflect town ordinances and the annual presentation. Could we accelerate it as well?
As well as any applications that come back.
And,
Oh, you're talking about the agenda for next.
Agenda.
Yes, yes.
Can we abbreviate the agenda so that we can focus on
and we're.
the annual report?
Yes,
Right,
and we gotta start with the annual report because he's here on the meter.
yeah,
Right.
yep. Understood.
Okay,
And we-
So my suggestion. is to try to actually abbreviate.
Yeah, so the agenda would be, the new business would be the
annual report.
annual report. And then we would, let him go and then deal with. the
Yeah,
ordinance.
he's like audience of citizens.
Yeah.
That's my
Can we make him audience of citizens and go away with us? Or something?
Well, no, we don't have to go in this order.
Oh, okay.
We can just suspend the rest of it and go straight in.
Yeah, that's what that's.
Presentations.
Go
Yeah,
straight into.
well,
new
and
business.
basically he would be, there's some things that are missing here.
What are you missing?
Wasn't there used to be like a guest speaker?
Audience
Oh,
of
yeah.
citizens,
Yeah,
yeah, it goes in under audience of citizens, and that's what we do. Yeah, there was guest speakers.
there was a guest speaker
Yep.
before.
You wanna put the guest speakers back in?
Yeah, well, I mean, even,
I don't know how come it's out.
yeah. And I think there was another thing.
Other. There
Yeah.
was one that said other. Well, you know. what
Well, and
happened-
there's also the dam, under committee reports,
And management.
the dam management.
Emergency.
Yeah,
Well,
what
there's the
happened,
dam emergency plan, but that was different from the committee, the
Yeah,
dam
and-
management.
and-
like what happened
Can't
is,
report this.
what happened is
Damn
the town got a hold of the agenda and they revised it.
Oh.
So that's why we're missing the things that we had on it, because this is not the agenda that I put out. I sent the agenda to them and then they revised it.
Really?
Yes,
Abbreviated.
Excellent.
so that's why we're missing those things.
Okay,
Oh, congratulations.
So,
Yeah, because we stopped
They're putting
putting
historical
Beth's
overview.
reports in of the water.
Right.
But did you put that, have you been putting that in? We used to say it at the beginning, the dam report was.
but the dam reports are being sent out to everybody now.
Right, but it's not in our minutes.
No, but it goes in when I submit the minutes. I resubmit them back to the town. With the attachment of all of the reports. So going back to, all right, so new business is gonna go on there. We'll leave everything else and you're just gonna jump to new business when you do the agenda.
Well, we change the order.
Yeah.
We can just put them right up front.
Yes,
well, but they would be guest,
The minutes last.
yeah,
Guest
because we do call to order meeting of minutes, guest speaker.
Well, let's do the minutes last. We don't have, we can make.
The minutes take 5 minutes.
Not legally. 2 minutes.
okay, we'll put him in as guest speaker, okay?
Yes. Yeah,
Annual report and guest speaker. and-
TRC consultant Carl
Yeah.
Nielsen.
Yeah. And then, is there anything else that's gonna come after that?
well, just send me a template, and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, I'll do it and you get it, and then we'll get it done now, while it's on our
Now
minds.
it's on our minds, thank you.
The selectmen's meeting is at 7, right?
Yes.
I think
7
so.
on the 21st, so.
Yeah.
Mike, motion to adjourn.
I have a second over here, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Dr. Walter.
See you next month.
Who seconded? Henry? Henry? Oh,
Phyllis, I can hold minutes to you.